For the last 4 years of myself playing baseball, I would constantly analyze everything I did wrong, everything I did right, every game, every pitch, every swing, every throw. And, winning or playing well kind of meant nothing to me. And right now, I think one of the strangest things that I remember from, even just a year ago from playing baseball had nothing to do with winning and nothing to do with getting hits and nothing to do with uh, playing poorly, even though I have regrets and I have, good memories about some of those things. It was those tiny, super small moments where my mind would just quiet and go blank. And I would kind of, in effect, black out for just a few seconds. But it was enough. It was enough to, do what my body could do. Where the pitcher would throw a ball and I would see it coming towards me. And my backhand would snap forward and I would take the first few nanoseconds of a swing and my mind would go blank. And I would make contact and I would run to first or however many bases I needed to run. Or the pitch would come into me and I'd catch it. The guy was running and I would turn to throw and my mind would go blank. And later, I wouldn't even remember what I did to do what I did. And I would get good results the few times that happened. And I wouldn't remember the swing or, the sound or even where the ball was or what it looked like or anything. My body would just do it. And for a few seconds, there would be no analysis and there would be no overthinking. And I wouldn't be thinking about mechanics or what the coach would say or what my stats were. And I would just be playing. And those moments were rare, but when they happened, everything kind of felt right. That I knew everything clicked for just a moment. And it was frustrating because I knew I could do it and I couldn't do it as much as I wanted to. Like there was a block in my mind preventing me from doing what knew I could do. And I think a lot of people experience this, even if it wasn't in sports. And maybe it's when, you're drawing and suddenly 2 hours pass without you noticing. Or when you're coding or you're building something and you don't check your phone. Or you're talking to your friends and you're laughing so hard that the time just disappears. And those moments all feel different from normal life. Because most of the time, I think we force ourselves through things. We force ourselves to focus. We force ourselves to be productive. We force ourselves to try and enjoy things that aren't that enjoyable. But those moments you're just about the opposite of forcing. They just happen. You just react and your body just does what it needs to do. And your brain, stops trying to control everything and instead it just lets you exist inside what you're doing. And at least for me, now that I can't play baseball anymore as much as I want to, I haven't been chasing those moments. And I've just been forcing myself to do stuff over and over again. And it's the harder we try to force them, I think the less they seem to happen. Think about our hobbies. You start learning something and, at first you expect to love it immediately and get enjoyment immediately out of something, but it feels awkward and slow and, you probably can't force yourself to keep doing it because it doesn't give you that feeling right away. And it doesn't give you what you want right in that moment. But do we force ourselves to continue doing something when we know that the blank mind moments, they usually don't happen at the beginning of something and they just happen when they happen? I think after you've built enough familiarity with your brain, it eventually stops thinking about every tiny step. And in baseball, that feeling honestly only happened probably once my junior year and maybe two times my senior year. And maybe it was repetition, maybe it was some talent, but I think your body eventually learns the thing well enough that your mind can get out of the way. And I think it applies to a lot more in the sports. Right now, a lot of us live in a state where our brains are constantly active. Like I am constantly thinking about fucking anything. Like I'm overthinking all the time. We're always just observing instead of just existing. And I hate saying like just let it happen, because most things, like, you have to do something to make it happen. But why does it seem like these things just, they just happen when they happen and we can't control it? How do we control it? I don't know. Those, blank mind moments, they remind us that life can be different and that it's possible to become so immersed in something that you forget to judge your actions and what you're doing and analyze anything. And I think that is the feeling that people talk about and looking for when they, are looking for like a passion or talking about a passion. Like it's not, constant excitement or success, just the ability to disappear into something and your mind just stops, you know, doing anything, and you just react and you just do something for the sake of doing it, or you just react for the sake of reacting. And just the ability to disappear into something for a while and to stop watching ourselves live and stop watching ourselves live through our own eyes and instead just live. I don't know. I hope eventually that as we keep doing something, our brain stops fighting it. But I think there needs to be, and I don't, I wish I had an answer. I wish I had a way. But these things that happen so rarely to me and probably so rarely to a lot of people that it's so hard to get to that exact moment. I wish I could. That's all I gotta have. Not very helpful. I wish I had answers to all these things I was thinking about. And I wish I was, wise enough to tell other people the answers, but I don't. But I wish I did. And maybe I'll get to that blank mind moment where eventually my brain stops thinking about thinking about the right answer. It just says something that is the right answer in one way or another. Have a great night, everybody.